Good morning.
Good morning. It's Monday morning grit.
Monday morning grit. You ready for it?
I think so.
It's cold,
It is remarkably cold.
but not as cold as last week, maybe?
No, I feel like it's colder.
Yeah, I guess that's the way things trend, isn't it?
Typically, yes,
I
but
gotta get more heat in here. It's a priority in my life now.
oh, for sure, for
This,
sure.
the studio is also my part-time office, so I can't avoid it.
Oh yeah.
So, starting the day off with a little E9. Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're puppies versus kittens.
Ah, an IPA.
Yeah.
Puppies versus kittens.
Yep.
It's very divisive.
Well, it's because it references another divisive thing.
Oh, what?
Take a closer look at the can design.
Purple and blue? Oh, I get it. It's
Yeah.
Huskies and Cougars.
Yep, sure is.
Okay, that actually makes more sense now.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, that's sort of like one of the things that drew it to me at first is I was like, puppies versus kittens. And then I took a closer look and I was like, oh, that's clever.
So, when it comes to puppies and kittens, I think I'm a kitten guy.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Huskies versus Cougars, the animal,
Mm.
I think I'm a Husky guy.
Okay. I,
No, nothing to back up that rationale. But
no.
Yeah, it's just a feeling I have.
I like, well, I call them mountain lions. I think that's a cooler name.
Yeah, that is a cool.
I mean, I don't
'cause
think
it makes you feel like we're in the mountains.
It doesn't. I don't think Washington State mountain lions has the same ring to it, but I
It's
like
a
the
little
term.
longer.
I prefer the term mountain lion, but
Well, and cougar has kind of been bastardized.
yeah, for sure.
Now it has all these other meanings.
Yeah, but
They're not bad, but they're not me.
it is still fun to say "Sko Cougs." Sko Cougs.
Go Cougs. That's pretty good. Coug is a good shortening.
Yeah, no, I like that. And I like their logo a lot. Their
Yeah, it kind of reminds me
yeah.
of Kansas.
Kansas.
Yeah.
Oh.
Purple one or whatever. Kansas State. I don't remember what.
No, I'm talking about Washington State, where like the letters make the roaring
oh, the
cougar.
WSU. Where it makes
yeah.
yeah. No, that one is
Yeah.
great.
No, I mean, I do prefer UW's colors though.
Gold and purple. You're more of a purple guy.
Oh, absolutely.
Rather than I like that
Well,
they're
with
kind
the
of competing
with,
colors.
with the gold too, the purple and gold.
Purple and gold.
Just,
But the
just,
gold
just
is
like
the-
Kobe.
yeah, like the fringe is the gold.
Yeah. No, I
Like
think.
Kobe.
Yeah, I
I don't know
think
if I would
it's.
have taken you as a Kobe guy.
I don't know. I think, like when there's always discussions of the greatest of all time, I'm usually like, don't forget about Kobe. You know.
I'm more of a Kareem guy myself.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
It's
I think he's number one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you can find some way to.
He scored the most points all time.
Okay, I mean that is a valid argument.
He won the college championship every year he played.
Wow,
Back to back to back titles. They wouldn't let him play freshman year, I don't think.
crazy.
Yeah, they got rid of the dunk because he was too dominant.
Really?
Yeah, they brought it back.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's like you can't take away the dunk. That's,
I mean, what are we doing here?
That's like when the NFL cracked down on excessive celebration, and then it was like they went too far in one direction.
Yeah.
And it's like now when they score a touchdown, it's not nearly as fun, but then they rolled it back eventually, and it's fun again.
But it's also fun to celebrate when it's against the rules.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. I mean.
Yeah. Like, did you see that a couple of weeks ago Tennessee beat what was it, Georgia or Alabama or one of the big SEC teams?
Oh really?
And they took down the field goal.
Oh my
They
goodness.
they like rocked it so much that they got it out of its holster and then as a group carried it out of the stadium.
Well, like in the NFL,
That's got to be against the rules.
it is because they have to carefully make sure it's seated so that it's like, the crossbar's perfectly horizontal.
Yeah.
And like if you touch it at all in the NFL, like deliberately, I'm pretty sure it's a penalty.
I actually think that's where those excessive celebrations kind of got started, was grabbing you're not allowed to dunk the field goal.
That was definitely one of them.
That was, yeah. It just makes you want to do it more.
It is. It's fun to break the rules a bit.
Yeah, right, especially when you're winning.
Yeah, for sure. But you can, I mean, I have seen cases where teams have gotten an excessive celebration penalty, and it really ended up benefiting the opposing team. So you gotta pick your battles.
Yeah, right. And then all your team is looking down on you.
Speaking of Tennessee, did you see, was it last night where the Gamecocks just like destroyed them?
Yeah.
That was
very unexpected.
I would have loved to have been in that stadium just to feel that atmosphere.
I love an upset.
Yeah. I mean, oh my goodness. It's crazy. Speaking of sports, World Cup started Sunday.
So about a year ago, when I was hearing about the World Cup, everybody was being pretentious and calling it Qatar instead of Qatar.
Yeah.
But recently, it seems like everyone's gone back to Qatar.
So when I heard people initially calling it, I called it Qatar my entire life. And when I heard people calling it Qatar, I was like, what kind of fucking hillbilly pronunciation is that?
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
I think it's the more right way, but I think we've abandoned caring.
I think so too. It's become a tomato.
Yeah, and there's bigger fish to fry.
Oh, absolutely.
When you're talking about Qatar.
But today at 11, 11 Pacific time, USA plays Wales.
Oh, that's the first match in the group?
Yep, for sure. Yeah, and we'd better fucking beat Wales, I swear, you know.
They're a tiny country.
They are. I mean,
we're ranked like 12th or something like that, or we're rated pretty high this year, right?
Yeah, we're not looking too bad, and there's 2 Sounders on the U.S. men's national team.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Jordan Morris, who I think he's from Mercer Island.
Whoa.
Yeah, so he's a local guy.
In the World Cup.
Yeah, and then Christian Roldan, I believe, also got picked for the U.S. national team. So
I think Mercer Island's about the same size as Wales. We should be able to handle them. Who else is in our group?
You know, I only paid attention to the immediate one game at a time.
Exactly.
That's how I'm approaching it. But did you hear that alcohol is not allowed to be served at the stadiums?
Yeah, of course. It's a Muslim country. What was anybody thinking?
So well, that's the thing. Like, initially it should have been, and of course, but FIFA kept on saying, oh, yeah, we're going to have beer sales at the stadium, and we're in talks with Doha right now. And like, I think...
No way that was ever going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know why... And that's why I'm upset. Like, if they had said no alcohol, it's like, well, of course, you know, it's in Qatar. But FIFA was insistent. They even made some multi-million-dollar sponsorship contract with Budweiser.
I'd imagine
Budweiser,
it's $1 billion.
Not
alcohol in the world.
Well, I mean, this is Budweiser. It's not that expensive.
Yeah, but how many games are there, and how many people in the stands?
Well, sure. But like, so when it was announced, and like this was very recent, like Friday, it was announced that there was going to be no alcohol. And Budweiser initially put out a tweet that said, well, this is awkward, but they deleted it later.
I mean, I think it's crazy, all of the, like, I keep seeing tourists, like, come to Abu Dhabi, come to, you know, wherever. And it's like, no Australian I've ever met is going to come to any of these countries.
Just because there's
Unless
no
they
alcohol.
made a mistake. Yeah, you can't travel. You can't be an Australian on holiday without a beer.
Without some drinks, and so like, and that's like, if I was someone who spent a ton of money on World Cup tickets,
yeah, you gotta fly
with the expectation that beer would be served, and then all of a sudden I'm here in Qatar. There's only a couple days to go, and then they're like, no beer. It's like, I'm gonna be disappointed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it is what it is. I'm sure it'll still be a fun. It'll certainly still be a fun tournament to watch.
It'll be an interesting tournament to watch from a distance for sure.
Yeah, and like I mean, here in the States, watching it in a bar, I can still have as many drinks as I want.
There you go.
By the way, I mean, there's some places that are putting together like watch party setups for like the World Cup. I know.
Yeah, maybe we should do that for a game or two.
I know Doyle's Public House. They got like a big outdoor like heated tent, and you know they got a bunch of chairs in there and a big like projector screen. So that might be an interesting place to go. But I was talking with a friend like, what if we went to the sports book at the Emerald Queen Casino and bet on the World Cup?
That's the best TV setup around, like by far. Have you ever been in there?
I have been in the casino. I took a peek at the sports book, but I haven't actually been inside it yet.
It's about as good of a setup as you could dream.
I'm sure.
But it's also like, so I went there for some of the March Madness games last year. And it was like you had to place a pretty significant bet to be inside because it was so packed.
Yeah.
So I wonder how packed it'll be for the World Cup.
Oh yeah, that's
But that's the fun, is watching it together with everybody.
We have to maybe just pick a game that like I care about but nobody else cares about.
Well, or even March Madness is one of the biggest gambling things.
Oh,
I don't know
for sure.
how that compares to soccer.
Yeah. I'm sure like I'm sure soccer betting is much bigger in Europe, but I'll bet it's growing in the United States.
Oh yeah, well all the sports betting's growing in the United States for sure.
Yeah. So
it's only been legalized for a couple of years.
Yeah. And like one of the big stories, at least this World Cup, that I think a lot of people are going to be following is like a lot of people are saying this is going to be Messi's last.
Oh really? It'll
World
be
Cup,
his last cup.
But he's never won the cup for Argentina, so it's like this is his last one. Can he pull it off?
I think that's the team I'm rooting for, Argentina.
Argentina? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was, I love Maradona.
Yeah, okay, yep. I mean, Messi was basically living in, almost kind of still does live in the shadow of that guy unless he can win this World Cup. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, so it's going to be a pretty interesting story to follow.
Yeah. Well, that's fun.
Yeah. How was your weekend? Did you do anything fun?
Yeah, my brother and I had like some Friendsgiving type thing with a bunch of his friends from all over the state, and so made a big turkey, and I made some stuffing and all the classic fixins. So it was a good time. What about you?
So I went to the Dirty Talk at A Street Pub last night.
Oh yeah,
that was actually fun.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Did you perform at it?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, nice.
I did. It's like, so it's their Dirty Talk, so it's like risque humor, and I actually tried out a new joke where I basically, like, the whole premise is like, I'm someone who's pee shy.
Oh, okay.
So to me, people who have like pee fetishes, like especially the donor party in that duo, it's like I see them as like having a superpower, you know?
They're the least pee shy people there is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean that's a tremendous. Like I see that as a tremendous amount of courage that you have to muster to do that. Right?
What's the fear that you don't have a strong stream or something?
I don't know what it is. It's just like I think I just don't want people. I don't like pissing around other people.
It kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I mean it is
shameful.
Yeah, it is, and you're vulnerable too.
Oh yeah, your pants
are down. Your pants are down. Well, at least, in this case, your fly's open. It's partially
down. They don't
down.
have to be all the way down.
Yeah, but if somebody wanted to pants you, like your belt's undone. So
that was funny. Yeah. Yeah, you are in a vulnerable state. I'll give you that. So you got to have trust.
Yeah, absolutely.
Faith.
Lots of faith. I carry my crucifix on me when I go to the urinal.
Just in case, you got to have faith.
Yeah.
Faith.
So, but that was fun. it's good to get out and see the area a bit more. That was in Auburn, so
Yeah.
it's good to sometimes go outside of the Tacoma circuit, meet new people, hear some jokes I've never heard before.
Totally. Did you meet were there a bunch of people you hadn't met before?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
I would say about half of the comics that went up I'd never met before, and
Only heard the legend.
They were pretty swell. One guy, he apparently used to like hang out with Bob Dylan or somebody like that.
Oh, he was like a really old guy?
Super old dude. Like, it's like somebody should have a hospice on speed dial, when he went up there.
That's funny.
He was also wearing a robe. I don't like a bathrobe, and it's like I don't.
Was he wearing stuff underneath?
It looked like it looked like pajamas.
Oh, okay.
Like when you're that old, you get to do what you want. But I think was it
like
you
Rodney
and I?
Dangerfield.
Was it you and I when we were talking about robes? Or
oh yeah,
just like it's kind of
the
belt in the toilet.
Yeah.
But it was fun to try a new joke, and I think the crowd liked it. Your ZZ Top joke that you did, I thought
like that?
Tacoma Comedy Club, I did like that a lot.
I put a little snippet of it on the Instagram.
Yeah, I saw, and I mean, really,
those guys are silly.
They are silly. Although in the Legs music video, when they have the guitar harnesses that they can spin their guitars, like that's
silly.
That's silly.
That's like that's like having the hat with the propeller on it.
It's like the badass version of that. Like you've graduated from the propeller hat to spinning the guitar.
A childish maneuver, but because they seem like they should be more threatening than they are. Or more like intimidating, or more of an edge to them, but they really almost have no edge.
Is it the big beards? Is that what makes it seem like they would be?
Yeah, they're so big that it's silly.
Yeah,
it's no longer like a tough beard.
Like everything in their music videos is just like it's silly. Like there's not much intimidation factor to it. Period.
Totally, it's very poppy.
Yeah. Well, I also just I love just some of the reoccurring things that happen in their music videos, like the hot rod and stuff like that.
Well, they're trying to be cool.
Yeah.
In like a very pop way.
Do you think...
And even their name, ZZ Top, is a little ridiculous.
Do you think they're that's deliberate? Like they're trying to be over the top and deliberate?
I think so.
Because I appreciate it when that's done that way, where it's like you're trying to appear silly by trying to be so cool, right?
Yeah. Otherwise, they're very delusional.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah. I can't really think of another band like them, really.
I'm sure if you,
like musically, I can think of them, but as far as their presentation,
to
try to be silly in that kind of way, but have big hits.
Yeah, I mean, I still love listening to Sharp Dressed Man.
Sharp Dressed Man's great.
Yeah,
I'd put them in the Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Okay.
Category, but they don't. Bachman Turner Overdrive, you have no image that gets conjured up.
No, I'm trying
REO
to
Speedwagon or something like that.
No, in fact, when I think of REO Speedwagon, I actually think of the REO Speedwagon.
I don't know that.
It's a truck.
Oh,
their band is named after a truck.
Oh, there you go. You actually think of the Speedwagon.
Yeah, that's a cool name for a truck. The Speedwagon.
The Speedwagon. Yeah, that's cool. That's
that.
I saw today, or I guess yesterday, the Mustang crossover.
Oh, the Mustang Mach-E's, the electric ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like, all right, this isn't really a Mustang.
I'll bet
they're trying to make a mom car cool.
I'll bet it's cool.
No, I bet it is cool, but it's not. It doesn't look like a Mustang except for the Mustang emblem in the front.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, I guess the taillights, like some of the other more aesthetic features, are somewhat Mustang inspired, but I still get excited when I see them.
No, it's a cool car, but it just felt a little wrong. It's not the cherry red with the boxy cut.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean that's fair.
It's like it might as well be a freaking BMW 5 Series.
Yeah.
3 Series maybe.
Oh, 3 Series is kind of cool.
Yeah, but it's not like a Buick LeSabre,
Unless, well, if it's in, yeah, for sure.
right? Like
Sure.
that's the direction I think a Mustang is, with the like fin taillights and
Okay. Although,
convertible.
hey, I mean, later
convertible
on in its life, the Buick LeSabre ended up becoming a grandma car. So,
Well, I guess that's true. They didn't keep up.
no, they didn't.
They didn't go red. They stayed with blue. I think.
Was it Buick that had those commercials where like they're trying to be hip, like
Yes,
it's like
They brought him. They were Tiger Woods' car.
Yeah, yep, and like
And then he ruined that.
they were like, it ain't your yeah, literally, literally he
Yeah.
did. And they're like, it's not your granddad's car, it's your car,
Yeah.
sports fan. You go getter, you.
Yeah. Not for me. I'd rather get the grandpa's car.
Yeah, I mean
Because
those.
grandpas are cool. The things that they have and care about are cool.
I think so too. I mean, there's some
Like
really
an old
cool
tractor or something like that.
Yeah.
Or
an old
heavy machinery.
heavy machinery.
Grandparents love
I-
that out of necessity.
I
think.
wish I sometimes had grandparents with heavy machinery.
Yeah. No for you.
No. I think no heavy machinery.
It's just a lot of light work.
Yeah, a lot of they did it all with their hands, everything,
They wish they had that heavy machinery.
Dug that pond. Yep. They think it made them a better person by not using the heavy
Yeah.
machinery, but
Builds character, they say.
yeah, I think it really just built joint damage.
Yeah. There's some. I go back and forth with like enjoying and appreciating like historical ways of doing things, and then balanced with modern things.
Right.
It's like that Manuscript Museum.
Oh, you
By
mean
the Wright Park.
the most forgettable museum in the Tacoma metro area? I actually forgot that it existed until you mentioned it.
Well, it is a very forgettable museum, and I don't know anybody who's ever been to it unless it was like during a field trip. But like the idea is like, oh, get the youth to see the way things were back then, and it's like the youth don't care about that.
Well, it's
I
like
hardly even care about it now as a middle-aged guy.
the worst part is it's by reading manuscripts.
Yeah, right.
Like that's not
I need an
engaging.
artifact.
They need the Oregon Trail.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that like their exhibit, the rotating exhibit, was like Che Guevara's high school transcript.
I
or,
don't.
like,
I don't think
they had Fidel Castro's document to enter Cuba or something like that.
Do you think like
Like,
Che
wow.
Guevara did pretty well in his like literary courses?
Actually, I think so.
Like
I read his guide
Motorcycle?
to guerrilla warfare.
Oh, okay. I thought you read the Motorcycle Diaries.
No, I did. I read Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. Does that count? Counts for something, I guess.
It's like a third order effect sort of counting for something, but
No, but I read his book on how to wage guerrilla warfare, and there's one chapter that really stuck out to me, because it was talking about the use of women in guerrilla warfare, and the whole chapter is about like when you're recruiting for guerrilla, nobody wants to do the domestic work,
no.
but it's by far the most important and crucial.
Well, what was it Omar Bradley said that what is it? He said amateurs talk tactics, professionals talk logistics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a great quote.
Yeah.
So is like women are so necessary because you can't convince a lot of these like men who want to go fight to like cook the meals
Right.
or get the uniforms or all of the logistic things that aren't as front of the line, beat your chest. So he's like, you got to get the women because they'll do the important work.
Yeah, but was it pretty eloquently written?
Yeah, I actually think so.
B
Like it conveyed the importance.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
B plus.
Relatively concise. Not it's a guide, so it's not necessarily super artfully written, but
And this is before Grammarly was made too, right?
Yeah, who even knows who his editors were?
I know. But yeah, Che Guevara. I feel like there's much more interesting ways to learn about him than the Manuscript Museum.
Just read Wikipedia or whatever. But I do wonder what other kinds of things are in the Manuscript Museum, because I looked on the Wikipedia and on their webpage, and there's no information about them really at all, other than they're part of a collective of like 12 other manuscript museums across the country. So I guess they share exhibits, but like, what kind of manuscripts? And they're also only open from Tuesday till Friday from like 10 to 4, which is like, who's available at that time to go look at some manuscripts?
Those are prime field trip times, if you ask me.
Yeah, you can go on one field trip a year to the Manuscript Museum.
Do you think, like, with all the money the schools got, which is not a lot, but to sort of COVID-proof the schools, do you think maybe they put VR goggles in the computer lab? It's like,
you could go to the Manuscript Museum.
I'm actually looking at Che Guevara's yearbook.
That is one of the first things VR goggles were for, was like they had one for the Louvre.
Oh, yeah.
Through. It was like one of the first programs they made. I remember doing that. That's a little better than a manuscript museum, though.
We'll throw soup at the Mona Lisa in VR. That'll show them.
Yeah, then you can get your rocks off and not damage a priceless work of art.
Yeah, or get arrested.
Fair enough. So, yeah, that Manuscript Museum. Maybe I'll go. Maybe we'll go one day. And we'll report back. See if there's anything of value inside.
I feel like the most interesting part of it is the cannon outside.
Yeah, probably. It's a good-looking building.
Do you think that's why they put the cannon out there? They're like, if we don't put this out here, we're just going to fade into the scenery.
Nobody's even going to recognize we're not just a house.
That's what the kids are interested in. They're like, oh, the cannon, whoa.
I think some people like cannon. It's like maybe something to climb on.
Oh, it's most definitely something to climb on.
Slide down the...
It is probably one of the most climbable weapons of war ever created.
Yeah, right next to the battleship.
Right, or the siege ladder. The most climbable implement of war.
Yeah, no, that's funny.
Horse not very climbable. Difficult to get up on a horse.
Have you ridden many horses?
When I was younger.
Even harder then.
Yeah, it helps if you have small horses, but they're kind of hard to find. They're pretty big animals.
Yeah, that's true.
Donkeys, they don't.
Donkey.
Donkeys, I guess you could ride a donkey. It's not as cool as riding a horse.
Did you know that donkey is actually short for Don Quixote?
Really?
No, it's not true.
Okay. I was about to, like...
It sounds like it could be.
I was like, pull it up on the computer right now.
Yeah, I would have been bluffing.
But yeah, the Manuscript Museum. Do you think in Che Guevara's yearbook, like, his friends also wrote some, like... shit like have a kick-ass summer, and it's like, come on, man.
The hags.
Yeah, Hakis. It's like, man, I went to school with you since like we were like babies, basically, and then the thing you're gonna right, like we might never see each other again, and you're not even gonna write out have a kick-ass summer. You're just gonna write Hakis.
Yeah, it's funny. We used to do HAG, have a great summer.
Yeah, well, you gotta.
Yes, that's a little risque.
You gotta stick it to the man when you're.
Yeah, but you're signed in 100 different yearbooks, and you're like,
yeah,
I don't like writing.
Well, that's how I know the ones that didn't actually like me. They put Hakis in there.
Yeah, well, or they probably did that for everybody.
Maybe they didn't like anybody.
That happens sometimes.
Yeah.
So, do you have any fun Tacoma plans coming up?
Well, I did want to talk about how I saw that they made a second show for Holidays of Blaze at the Tacoma Dome. Yeah, I guess there's so much demand, there's going to be a second show now.
Wow, they did an extra Tacoma Dome show, and that's a lot of extra people.
That's, 20,000 seats, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, potentially.
The fact that it's here in Tacoma is just so exciting. But
yeah. So is it just the next day?
It might. it's either the same day but a different time.
Oh, okay. At
Yeah.
a late show or something.
Yeah, I think so. Or it's the next day. I can't
That's
remember.
what I was wondering, if the dome can really handle a hot swap like that.
Yeah, it probably can. If anybody can handle it, it's the dome.
It's the dome.
It's the dome.
Yeah, right.
So
you're going with Macy and
Emmett. But if there's still a seat available, if you can somehow make your plane.
I'm gonna be out of town.
Okay.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
I was, it does sound like the lineup is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
Snoop
Dogg, Warren G, Yin Yang Twins. There's one more that I can't think of right now.
Legendary lineup.
I mean,
everybody knows all the hits.
yeah, and it's
Snoop Dogg almost has so many hits. I'd wonder which ones he would choose.
well. So here's the thing. I was thinking. Remember your encore joke?
Yeah.
Where like you were talking about like when Elton John came to the Tacoma
he didn't
Dome.
do Tiny Dancer till the encore.
So I was thinking, what would be the encore song for this event? And
Dum 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 da 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 da.
well,
Do you think that's how he starts it?
I think he's going to start it that way because that would really.
Because that's a real starting
Yeah.
energy of dum boom boom.
I feel like you're gonna, because of
Snoop Dogg.
some people in the lineup that we have. I feel like they're gonna get off the stage and then all of a sudden you're gonna hear regulators mount up.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
That's a moment for sure.
That's but yeah, I think it's gonna be great. But it's funny. Somebody at the A Street Pub made a joke like, "Did anybody get Taylor Swift tickets this week?" And it's like, well, if I understand what happened correctly, it should be nobody if you weren't in the pre-sale.
Oh, is that what it was?
I think so. Ticketmaster, I guess, effed up.
Okay.
They grossly underestimated the amount of people that would be buying tickets, but I also heard that like in a massive amount of tickets were sold in the pre-sale. So if you weren't part of the pre-sale, getting tickets was going to you're going to have to fight, and you're probably
bid for the highest bidder.
Those aren't good odds. You don't have good odds.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I was out of the loop on that.
But I think the site kept crashing and stuff because it just overwhelmed Ticketmaster servers. I mean
that's a good problem to have.
It is a good problem to have. The only thing is like it is a good problem to have once. If you have it again, then people just aren't going to even try in the future.
Yeah, watch out.
That's like. Somebody was arguing to me that like scalpers are beneficial for the economy because they sort of fill in an economic gap where the ticket seller has imperfect information about what is the value of tickets.
And then they take on a little bit of the risk or whatever.
The problem is if the scalping problem gets bad enough, you could just get people that are burned out from like buying tickets altogether, right?
Oh,
like or not even tickets, but like let's say they drop like some limited edition shoes and there's like 300 pairs, right? And like let's say somebody's programmed a bot that just buys up like 10 of them immediately and they're going to sell them back for 3 times the value. If I'm just some guy that's working a 9-to-5 job and I don't have time to program some fancy bot, like at some point I'm going to be like, why even bother, right? And you don't want people to think, why even bother when you're throwing out these new shoes that you spent all this money designing, right?
Yeah, that's fair. But I also feel like technology advances and you get a new try with every generation of technology.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, they're doing it in this way now, and you're like, oh, I hope it works.
Well,
and it does, and you trust that new system till it fails.
If you buy tickets to like some like highly anticipated event, you can start to notice there are efforts to at least cut down on scalpers. Like you go to Ticketmaster, like when I'm buying tickets for Holidaze of Blaze, there was actually like sort of a lobby like that you would wait in until it was your turn to get a ticket. And then when it was your turn to get a ticket, you had a limited amount of time to purchase it before it would time you out and send you back to the lobby. Which
they're just trying to figure out different ways to do it. It's just that it's a monopoly now, and so the competitive, when Live Nation bought Ticketmaster, all of a sudden there's less competitive innovation.
That is crazy. That it's like Ticketmaster and Live Nation are basically it for like big events. Yeah.
I mean, Louis was fighting the good fight for a while and showing people the way of doing it outside of them. But I mean, he had tough slog. Figure it out.
I'm sure it is. I mean, I'm surprised Live Nation hasn't gotten into more hot water over the Taylor Swift incident, because like Ticketmaster's taken the
Well, they're the same company.
They are the same company, but like I feel like people should be throwing Live Nation's name out there more too.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean,
I wouldn't know if they are or not.
Yeah, not really. It's mostly Ticketmaster that's getting,
because you're seeing the ticket part of it,
right? But
it's easier.
Do you know? But like I guess Live Nation being the parent company certainly bears some responsibility.
Oh no, they'll feel it. But I actually bet they think it was good.
Really?
Good press. All press is good press. They're in the news more than anything else.
That's fair.
And if anything, it's showing that, like, look at how this limited supply and the prices are crazy high. Like, that makes it more appealing to go.
I did think that the Astro World crush might have been a big problem for Live Nation.
Probably, but just for, like, legal reasons, and they'd have to put more money into security measures. I don't know how big of a PR thing it really ended up shaking out to be.
I feel like we all kind of forgot about it after a week.
Yeah, exactly.
It just sort of blew over.
The news cycle moves on, kind of like our podcast. We won't be talking about this next week. We will, because you won't have gone to the event. What day is the
Holidays of Blaze? Oh, it's not until December. It's just
December is only 2 weeks away.
16th, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So
we will talk about it again.
But the news was like there's a second show now. So if you're in the if there are still tickets available, you might want to get in on this. There's some pretty high demand.
Join Warren and Emmett and Macy at the show and Warren G. You got anything in the more immediate future?
You know what I want to do? I want to go to, so there's like a whiskey store on A Street. I think it's called McCallum and Sons. Didn't even know it was there, but it's like a what would you call it? A boutique whiskey store. Like, it's fancy.
Okay.
Whiskey. Like, I was looking up pictures of it online. It almost looks like a jewelry store, but they're selling whiskey, and I want to see what it's like.
Interesting. Yeah. And then the people behind the service, the customer service people will probably have a lot of information to.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, so when you're selling whiskey that's like could be thousands of dollars, you almost can't sell it online. Like, you could, but I feel like you shouldn't, because here's the thing. Like, it's one of those things where if you can get somebody in the store and have an expert like start talking to them about like what they're interested in, and like get with them on a personal level and get them excited about spending this amount of money on whiskey.
It really takes a salesman to get the information across.
I think so, and that's where you can really do.
Unless you're already a collector.
For sure. I mean, yeah, for sure. But I think the business, like, if you can get someone started collecting and like you're like the business that they end up going to, like, I feel like that's a big deal,
I could see that.
But yeah, I feel like there's still with a lot of luxury or premium items to actually get somebody into the store with their hands on it and have somebody who knows what they're talking about, like, get them excited for it. I feel like that's still very effective, even in this age where it seems like a lot of stuff is going to online.
Well, you'll have to report back next week. You going to go this week?
I might go this week.
Do you have a short week at work this week? Do you get the Thanksgiving weekend extra?
I get Thanksgiving off. No Black Friday, though.
Black Friday. Oh,
yeah.
All right, then.
Which, do you go Black Friday shopping at all?
No, I never have.
Neither have I. Sometimes it seems exciting, but there's other things that I'd rather do.
Unless it's just so rare that I have a big purchase item I want to get that has a significant enough discount.
Well, that's
Although now that I'm thinking about it, I do want to get this kerosene heater, and I wonder if there'll be a Black Friday sale on it if I wait a couple of days. But I don't think I can wait a couple of days because I'm cold.
Yeah,
I'm cold right now.
I'm cold right now too, especially
I was
the
just
hands.
Go to Home Depot and pay an extra 20% over the Amazon price to get it
Oh,
today.
yeah, no. That's another thing I like about like brick and mortar is like if you want it today, you can have it today.
Yeah, but Amazon's catching up. I mean, I can get there. I've had things delivered faster than I've been able to go get them.
Really?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because they do some day of delivery stuff, and if you're working, then it can come to you before your lunch break.
Really? Okay. I mean that makes sense. There's a lot of distribution centers around here.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Sumner yesterday, and I saw. It looks like Amazon like had a like contract built electric delivery vans just for them. I've never seen anyone else with this delivery van, but like they looked brand new and they were electric, and
They're investing.
They weren't cool looking, but they were charming. It was a very charming vehicle. But yeah, it was like if anybody is going to be taking out a big contract for so many vans, they might as well just build it from the ground up to suit their needs. It's Amazon, right?
They're as big as you can get.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool. So we'll be seeing new Amazon vans running around.
I mean, in Sumner, you can see them right now.
Sweet. Well, holiday season getting ready.
Yeah, for sure.
Busy season.
Which is interesting because they are hiring a bunch of seasonal workers for their warehouses, but it seems like Amazon corporate's laying a ton of people off. I mean, the tech companies are taking a big hit in general.
It goes up, it goes down.
Yeah.
It'll come back up.
Well, especially like the FTX bankruptcy. Have you been following that?
Only a little bit.
I think it's so funny that the former CEO's name that's basically responsible for the rise and fall of it, his last name is Bankman-Fried. Like it's like a self-fulfilling it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
That's like a Shakespeare title or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Bankman-Fried. I do think that like there was the .com bubble, right? And there was like, but it comes back.
Yeah.
I still believe in Bitcoin and all that. It's inevitable that it'll take over.
I don't.
It just came too quickly.
Well, I think the problem is with this whole debacle, it's brought to light two things. One, that cryptocurrency, unlike fiat currency, doesn't have a lender of last resort to bail people out, right?
Not always, but it could. It doesn't.
It could, but it doesn't. It doesn't now.
There are some companies that do.
Oh,
there's some stuff that's like backed by the U.S. dollar coin, for example.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes.
The reason it'll take over is because you can do it instantly with no transaction fees, and banks take 2 to 3 days.
Maybe I think this is going to burn a lot of people on it. I think this is
sure. Well, it's because it grew so fast during the pandemic because people who shouldn't be interested in it were.
Yeah, I mean, I see where your optimism's coming from. I feel like this is the Hindenburg moment for crypto.
I could see that perspective, but there's just too many countries out there in the world who their currency is garbage, and it's more stable than that.
I feel like maybe like a year ago, yes, but lately it's just like
I don't know. You remember, if you're in Zimbabwe and you're carrying around wheelbarrows full of cash to buy your bread.
For sure, but I think what was it? El Salvador started to like accept cryptocurrency as legal tender and maybe started even using it as like a reserve currency, and I think they're hurting pretty bad right now.
Yeah, I don't know if they've ever been doing that.
Great. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't think they ever recovered from that civil war.
You gotta take a chance on something.
Yeah, but
that's big. That's big news.
That's huge news. But I wonder. Do they? I think they own the naming rights to like where the Miami Heat play. So I wonder who's
Is
gonna.
that right? Yeah, somebody else will take it over.
Yeah, I wonder who's gonna
Hopefully
get it
something
now.
cool. Something with a cool
I
name.
hear every time a major venue's naming rights are up for bidding, I hear Pornhub every time tries to buy one.
Well, Miami would make more sense.
That
I think.
you know what? I wouldn't mind Pornhub Arena.
There's no way it'll happen.
Well, actually, they should just call it the Pornhub.
That's just because the decisions are made by the owners.
Well, sure.
They'll never approve that.
Well, we might one day. Could you imagine if it was
You
like
can dream big.
the Broncos Stadium, like it's like the Pornhub at Mile High Stadium? Like just have the Mile High, just they call all the suites like the Mile High clubs.
Yeah, or it's like blacked.com.
Blacked.com.
Yeah, that'll never happen.
Yeah.
You got any more exciting news on your sheet there?
Not really exciting news, but I guess just some things to talk about. I've noticed with like the light rail extension, have you seen like at the news stations and even current stations they now have the Orca kiosk?
Oh yeah, I actually did. I don't know if I noticed when it happened, but
if it cost more than $3 for all day round trip on the T line, I'm gonna be livid.
All day round trip.
All day round trip. It's only like $6 on line 1 up in Seattle, the one that goes all the way from Angle Lake to
I guess
North
that's
Gate.
fair. Yeah, but the all day pass is nice.
Yeah. If you buy round trip, it's good all day.
Yeah, that's cool.
If you buy one way, I guess it's good all day too. You can only travel in one direction.
Yeah, but you're thinking you're replacing a bus that would cost the same, or you're replacing a scooter that would cost more. Or replacing just as long as it's above replacement value, I'm doing it.
Well, for sure. And the nice thing about light rail is it's much easier to scale than buses.
Yes, adding more
cars
to the train.
For sure.
Yeah,
and
then
like
you don't have to worry about parking when you go down to the Tacoma Dome.
Yeah, and like in terms of like fuel considerations or like environmental and efficiency considerations, all you have to do is run power to the overhead power lines, and then you're golden.
Go.
I mean, that's the genius of the trolley bus. I love the trolley buses in Seattle. I mean, it's basically like no motor, no batteries, no engine, right? It's just, well, I mean, there is a motor, but it's pretty small because the power is coming from the power lines.
Pretty nice.
Also a charming vehicle in terms of...
Yeah, I wonder how much that one gets used. It seems like it's got to be more popular.
There's only like 5 cities in the United States that have trolley bus systems. Seattle and San Francisco, I think, are the biggest two, which I feel like we should like probably have more trolley buses. I'd like to see trolley buses in Tacoma.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
It does seem like a low number.
It is for how efficient like it is, because like here's the thing, like trolley buses are perfect for cities like Seattle and San Francisco because they're great hill climbers, right?
That's what I was thinking. Seattle and San Francisco stand out as being hilly cities
because the electric motor gives it like great torque, but because it's getting its power from overhead lines, you don't have the weight of the batteries, which, I mean, the batteries make it heavy, super heavy. So it's a really great people carrier that I'm a big advocate of.
Interesting. Yeah, well, I always like efficient transportation, connecting the cities to connecting everybody together more easily.
Yeah.
I wish I had more public transportation available always. I hate driving.
Especially in Seattle. Driving in Seattle is almost a hostile environment for driving.
It's just a city.
Yeah, I don't know. See, I've run into some things in Seattle where I was like, I didn't even know they could do this from a street planning perspective. Like, you'll have 2 one-way streets, like, opposite converge at an intersection. It's like, well, I can't go any further forward. The other thing about Seattle, though, is the grid, I believe, was designed by 7 different people. So you have parts where it's like the grid just radically changes. That's how you get sort of those formations like the Denny Triangle.
I was gonna say Denny Triangle.
Yeah, that's because of you had different people designing the grid.
Yeah, well, it's rare to get a homogenous plan for a city, but
For sure. I feel like Tacoma did a pretty good job, though.
yeah, I think we're all right for our interesting geography.
But going back to like it being sort of a more hostile place for cars, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely.
It makes it better for, I think, everyone else, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's not. I think it's silly to replace it with bikes in a hilly environment, but usually that's the go-to.
Yeah. Well, in most local political scenes, cyclists are probably some of the most motivated and well organized political activists. So
Totally.
you'll definitely see bike lanes, even though it's like in a place where it's like I don't think anybody's gonna want to ride a bike up this hill.
Yeah,
Maybe
right.
down. Down might be fun.
Yeah, but it's also for build-outs for if they want to expand the lane. Then they just take away the 2 bike lanes, and you got an extra lane.
Yeah, for sure.
But I lived in Portland for a while, and they would have whole lanes that were bike lanes, like whole car lanes.
Oh wow,
and
yeah.
it was a little obnoxious sometimes because you could see that there weren't that many bikes.
I would like to see more like pedestrian only areas in like American cities. Like if we could get more if we could get more like open air markets and stuff like that, I think that'd be really cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah, but
just need to connect everybody together. Do you ever go to the? I almost went to the Saturday market this week.
No, I didn't go to the I didn't go to the Saturday market, but I have been to the Thursday farmers market in Broadway.
That's right. We talked about that.
That's a nice one. I mean, they close down the street. All the vendors come out. It's a pretty cool time. I had a pretty good grilled cheese there once.
Ah, grilled cheese. That sounds like something I want to eat.
That's a hell of a sandwich. I'm a huge grilled cheese fan.
Well, maybe we should get a grilled cheese sometime.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, you might like this fact. Mm-hmm. So yesterday, I went train spotting. Right?
Oh yeah.
And the one that I showed you, the one I posted, that Canadian National train, it was carrying fuel cars. But in between the fuel cars and the cab, like the locomotive, there's a hopper car. And I learned why that is. The hopper car is filled with sand. So if the fuel cars explode, the crew gets some protection.
It's like a blocker for an explosion?
Yeah, it's like a giant sandbag. You know how like in the army they build like sandbags on fortifications? It's basically a giant sandbag for the crew.
Interesting.
And I'm wondering,
that seems like a lot of sand.
It's a ton of sand.
Yeah.
You need a ton of sand. It'd be a pretty big explosion.
Probably more than 1 ton even.
Yeah, and like I'm wondering if at conductor school they're like teaching them you have to bring your sandhopper with you if you're carrying fuel cars, and somebody's like, why is that? And then they're just like, if the train explodes.
Yeah, I wonder how often that is.
Well, I mean, it does raise the question, how often is it? And my answer to that is often enough. You should bring your sand car with you.
Yeah, because you think how expensive that is to have.
In the grand scheme of things, it's probably not that expensive. It just takes extra time to hook up a sand car. Yeah, to it. You gotta go get sand somewhere.
Got to make sure you got your sand car. That's cool though. Now I want to look up explosion videos to see if how well the sand works.
Well, yeah, I'm wondering that. I mean, there was an oil train that famously derailed and exploded in some town in Quebec. I think it wiped out the town.
Wiped out the whole town?
Yeah, like everything got burned down. It killed like 15 people. Like,
wow, that's a small town.
I forget. Well, I mean, it didn't wipe out the town as in like the structural damage made Main Street unrecognizable in the surrounding area. Like
total.
Just uncontrollable fire. But I think a lot of people got out. It's just they couldn't get the fire under control.
That makes sense.
Yeah, if I remember it, I'll send it to you. By the way, did you take a look at the spear gun article I sent you?
Yeah, I did.
I just love that it's like improper uses of spear gun, and it's like the planned hijacking of like Federal Express Flight 704.
What a great use. It seems like a proper use to me.
It's like, I mean, it does have gun in the name. Everything's more exciting with gun in the name.
The REO gun wagon.
The REO gun wagon. That'd be
a cool name.
ZZ Gun.
All of a sudden, things are cooler. That's a little less silly.
That reminds.
ZZ Gun would be a silly name too.
That would be Zip Gun would be that'd be a fun name. Like,
yeah, I think so.
It's a fun name. Silly name, yes. Fun name, also, yes.
Silly and fun, they're pretty close to each other.
They, it's. I'm sure I never had one of those propeller hats as a kid, but I'm sure it was both silly.
Which is probably a little bit of fun.
And fun too.
Although with the hat, you can't really see the propeller going.
No, it's for everyone else. Yeah. It's a selfless.
To be silly is fun for other people.
It's a selfless gesture,
Totally, like those giant beards on.
That's why there's no greater calling than being a stand-up comedian.
Or no lesser calling, depending on how you look on it.
Bringing laughter to the people
through silliness.
All right.
Yeah, there's not as many silly comics out there as there probably should be.
No.
A lot more political ones.
Gallagher is dead.
You're right. He was a king of silly.
A very silly gentleman.
Yeah, R.I.P.
What happened? Like, did people did people get sick of smashing watermelons?
No, they didn't.
What
he was
happened?
Wildly successful for his entire career.
His entire career.
Yeah, he has his own theater in Branson.
Wow.
It's been sold out for 50 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah. He used to run Branson.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just thinking of prop comedy in general. I feel like prop comedy
Prop comedy, always very successful.
Always very successful.
Carrot Top ran Vegas. He's got the biggest warehouse. He's one of the most successful comics.
No fucking way. I thought Carrot Top kind of just...
I mean, people make fun of him because he's silly.
Well, but, that's part of the calling,
Almost any prop comic you've ever heard of is successful.
That's... Okay.
But I guess that's a prerequisite of having heard of them.
Yeah, sure. It's a big sacrifice.
Howie Mandel was a prop comic.
Really?
Yep. And Ray Romano was a prop comic. And
Germaphobe.
Dennis Miller was a prop comic.
A germaphobe. I almost said Germanphobe. He might not like Germans very much either. We don't know.
No, I think Mandel. I actually think
Mandel
that is
does
German.
sound kind of Germanic.
Yeah.
He doesn't like handshakes.
No, I think his props were a lot of rubber gloves.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. You know, if
I think he put it on his head and act like a chicken or something.
If a germaphobe is going to have any prop, I feel like it should be a latex glove.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So Ray Romano, really?
Yep.
Wow. It really shows how much I know about comedy. And
you got to learn your history.
I know. It's just, it's tough.
There's a lot of it out there.
It's like
there are lots of laughs to be had.
When I watched the Dennis Miller that you recommended, and I was like, "What the fuck are Bugle Boy jeans?" It's like, is he fucking talking about East Germany and George H.W. Bush?
Well, the wall had just fallen the year before.
I know, but it's like.
But he's also the king of references.
He's like, how about that Saddam Hussein guy? It's like, oh yeah.
He was still a problem 30 years later.
He was. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, maybe even still a problem.
Well, that might be a good note to end on.
Yeah, I think so too.
Saddam Hussein continues to be a problem.
All right.
All right. Well, I guess have a good afternoon, everybody.
Yeah, and go Team USA.
Go Team USA.
All right.
Is that what you say? Go Team USA?
That's what I say.
And that's
I'm
what we say
here
in Grit City.
Yeah.
See y'all next week.